Hi guys, here's a little video on how I teach dogs nail desensitization. So this is how I teach a dog to accept having their nails cut. So it's part, I guess, of desensitization, it's part of touch, and it covers a little bit of grooming as well. Cutting your own dog's nails, or having the ability to, is really important. We can't always get to groomers. You may get a split or a crack that needs to be dealt with. You don't always have the money for it. You're not always in a position to be able to do it for whatever reason. For us to get to a groomer's is like a 12-hour day. So it's 2 minutes to cut their nails. So 2 minutes is going to win it every day for me. So you're going to watch Mia, one, be exposed to the tool, and it's very important to expose the dog to a tool to get him used to it. You will also see her get to play with the tool and learn what she can and can't do with it. And then we'll begin to just desensitize her to the movement and to the noise and to the touching of the tool. And then in the last bit, we're going to actually cut her nails. Now, I'm going to do all this in one session. So you're going to see this totally live from one part to the next. And that's how I'm going to do it. And I pretty much guarantee by the end of it, we will be cutting nails, and it'll be done very quickly. And one of the reasons I can say that is because the foundation work's been put in. So you're not going to necessarily be able to do this in one session. It may take you days, weeks, or months, and that's all right. The process is the same. Just follow it. Don't push the dog. Go at a nice steady pace. One of the most important things is you be calm. Because most people will fail because they're wound up, because their dog gets wound up. Or the first time the dog pulls out, they grab hold of the dog and they get frustrated and everything else. Stay calm. Just stay calm. I correct unwanted behaviours every single time, and I very rarely praise or reward. And that's simply because there's so much happening when you're doing this that a dog can go from okay to anxious to aggressive to mouthing to playing up in split seconds. And so by the time you touch the toe and it comes out good, the dog is getting tense, pulling away, mouthing, doing something else. So you risk building in unwanted behaviours and fears and aggression and all these other things. So basically it's no big deal. For me, I treat it as an expected behaviour, and expected behaviours very rarely get rewarded or acknowledged because they're expected. And that is a big difference. So stay calm, be calm, take as long as it needs, one section at a time. It's really important. Hope it helps. We'll see you in there. All right, so one of the first things I do is introduce the dog to the tool. So as usual, untrained dogs get a lead on. In my case with puppies, it's always a slip lead, and they have that on. And as you can see, I'm kneeling on it so she can't take off. And I'm just going to introduce the toy. So I let her smell it. I'll correct if she tries to mouth it. Simply because, it's not allowed. But she can sniff it. I can put it down so she hears the noise on the ground. She has a play. She hears a noise. Again, this has also helped desensitizing the dog against things like noises. There's just a noise here on the wooden floor. I don't want this dog being scared of anything. You know, all of my dogs will handle things like fireworks, heavy traffic, stadium noises. They'll handle thunderstorms and lightning and things like that. I don't want them being afraid. And so all of this helps these things. Continually introducing to new things, the noise. And she's generating that, as well as generating the corrections for chewing. And she'll get those all day long when she's mouthing something she shouldn't do. But remember, part of a puppy's, or dogs in general, but especially puppies, they are going to mouth everything. They want to mouth everything. It's their way of, it's their way of learning about them. So you'll have to excuse the corrections, but this is what happens when we shoot live. And this is live, and this is her first introduction, and this is how it goes. And this is what you've got to do. You're going to have a dog pawing at it. You're going to have a dog mouthing at it. Pawing is fine. I don't want them mouthing, obviously. All right, so nice sniff at it. She's had a bit of a test with her mouth. I don't mind a little licking on it. But no chewing. And she's had a paw, she's felt the textures, all these things. So I'm going to introduce, and this may be 5 times, 10 times, it may be 20 times, it may be over a day, 2 days, 10 days, a week, whatever it takes for this dog to be comfortable. Mia's already pretty robust because she's introduced to new things continually, and so there's not a lot, there's not a lot that frightens her. And even if something, a noise scares her or anything like that, she bounces straight back. It just doesn't faze her too much because she's continually introduced to them. Right, so that's it. That's just how I show a dog a new tool, whether this would be a brush or whatever it is, you know, a lead, a collar. I let them sniff, I let them lick, I let them have a little paw at them or a little touch. I correct mouthing, obviously. But they get to see it and they get to introduce it both in my hand and on the ground, because I just think that's important, because it really is 2 environments right there. All right, we'll be back with the next stage. Hope you enjoyed. All right, so stage 2 of how I do this is I simply start handling the paws and the cutters at the same time, and I just bring the cutters there and I pretend to clip. So the motion, the noise, the touching of the paws is there. And I gradually increase that by handling the individual toes to hold them. I'll correct any mouthing, any jumping around, any playing. What I won't do is continually reward this dog. I'm not going to get there every nail and go like this, a good girl, and give her a treat. I'm not going to even mark it, good girl, because it's an expected behaviour, and I don't mark them and I don't treat them very often. And also one of the big reasons why is I get it wrong. It's very easy to get it wrong. I could be doing this, and just as I say good girl, she flinches a little bit. The noise frightens her a little bit. She goes to jump, she gets distracted, anything, just as I go to mark. And if I'm doing it so often, and I would be in this case, I start marking, start praising, start rewarding unwanted bad behaviours. So I can actually build anxiety into this by trying to reward. So I simply don't. This is an expected behaviour, that she's calm, that she lets me handle her feet, that the tool can come up against her nails. Every now and again, when I know for a fact she is dead calm, good girl. Yes. Apart from that, very little. And so I'm just touching her feet, making some noises, and I'll keep doing this again and again and again over a period of days, weeks, months, if that's what it takes, until she is totally happy and totally relaxed. It's really important. Don't over-reward. Don't make a big deal of it. It's not. The bigger the deal you make of it, the bigger the deal the dog thinks it is. And the more you reward, the more you mark, the bigger risk that you'll actually build in bad behaviours. I will actually have her sitting here and me cutting these nails on the very first day. That doesn't mean all dogs will. Most won't. But it simply means that not over-rewarding, not making a big deal, just being really calm, like this is an everyday thing, is really important. I've set up a lot of, even though she's very young, set up a lot of foundation work with this dog. So not a lot bothers her already for her age. So she's used to noises, she's used to things going bang in the middle of the night. So not a lot frightens her, not a lot scares her. So she's got really good foundation work, and that makes a big difference. Take it as slow as you need for your dog. That is really important. Hope it helps. We'll see you in the next one. Okay, so the next part now is actually going to be cutting. Now, all you're going to do is cut a slither, the tiniest little slither. Good. All you're going to do is cut the tiniest little slither, and make sure you hold the toenail that you're working on. That's really important so it doesn't jump around or move around. Good girl. And she was dead calm then, so I'll let her know. And so I'm just cutting little slithers off. Now every now and again I'll stop and I'll offer a treat. Again, I'm going to be very careful how often I offer a treat. All right, she's done 2 nails, she's got a good girl and a treat. And, you know, that's enough. She will get corrected for anything jumping around. Now she's looking for a treat. That's the other problem when you over-treat. They start looking for it. And so it's really important that you don't over-treat. And as you can see, Mia, come here. Good girl. That I say very little to her. This isn't a big deal. Good. I'm just cutting nails. This is an everyday event, no big deal. If I don't make a big deal of it, she won't make a big deal of it. Small amounts to start from, and I'll just move on to the other feet. If you notice that the dog's starting to become stressed, one of the things you can do is you could clip this feet today, or this feet this lesson, do another one later, or do another one tomorrow, and another one the next day, and another one the next day. It's always good to spread it out as well. Just over a few days if the dog's getting a little comfortable, until they're used to it. So it'll all depend on your dog. Don't push it, don't rush it, be calm, just cool. This is nothing, this is just cutting their nails. Don't make a big deal, but start off very small, just take very small bits. The beautiful thing about that too is I can come back in 5 or 6 days or in a week's time and do it again and just take the tiniest slither off, and I can keep doing that for weeks before I have to worry about how far this is back. Hope this helps. We'll see you on the next one.